Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're addressing a magnificent dilemma. Picture this. You have one adventure budget, and you're faced with two of the most famous walks on Earth. It's a decision that invariably arises at dinner tables everywhere. Do you choose the roof of Africa or the road to Machu Picchu? If you're currently weighing your options, this is an honest, editorial comparison to help you choose the right path for your next great journey. We'll be examining the physical demands, the logistics, and the emotional resonance of each route.
The fundamental difference between these two journeys can be distilled into a single, profound thought. One trek points at a wonder of the world, the other points at you. That idea is really the philosophical core of our comparison today. We're looking at two completely different adventures that merely happen to wear similar boots. Let's methodically examine what each one truly entails.
If we look at the raw geography and duration, the parameters quickly separate themselves. The classic Inca Trail is a 4-day, roughly 43-kilometer walk through the Andes in Peru. Fundamentally, it's a walk through a civilization. You'll pass over high passes and verdant cloud forest, walking past ancient Inca ruins that elegantly stair-step down the mountains, all culminating in a dawn arrival through the Sun Gate to Machu Picchu itself. Every single day is layered with archaeology and story. Kilimanjaro, conversely, requires 6 to 9 days. It isn't merely a hike, it's a full expedition up the tallest freestanding mountain on Earth. You travel from dense rainforest through moorland and alpine desert, arriving ultimately at an Arctic summit at 5,895 meters. There are no ruins, and there is no sun gate waiting at the top. The destination is simply a sign, and the real destination is the person who managed to walk up to it.
The most significant practical difference between the two endeavors lies in altitude and difficulty. Now, the Inca Trail certainly demands respect. Its highest point is Dead Woman's Pass, sitting at approximately 4,215 meters. That is a genuinely tough day where the thin air is absolutely felt. However, you sleep at a lower elevation and the trail subsequently descends towards the sanctuary of Machu Picchu at roughly 2,430 meters. Kilimanjaro presents an entirely different physical reality. It goes half again as high and, crucially, it stays high. The final camp sits above 4,600 meters, and the summit night reaches 5,895 meters. That's an altitude where every breath carries roughly half the sea level oxygen. While neither trek requires technical mountaineering skills, and both are fundamentally walks, Kilimanjaro is unequivocally the larger physical and physiological challenge. If the Inca Trail is a hard, beautiful hike, Kilimanjaro is a true expedition.
Moving beyond the physical terrain, the practical logistics diverge sharply. The classic Inca Trail operates under a very strict capped permit system. There's a limited number of daily places, and that figure actually includes the entire crew. Because of this, permits sell out months in advance for the dry season. Spontaneity simply isn't on the menu, and it's worth noting that the trail closes completely every February for necessary maintenance. It is, however, generally the cheaper trip. By contrast, Kilimanjaro offers immense flexibility. There is no permit lottery. If you secure a licensed operator, you can plan your climb for the dates that suit your calendar, in almost any month. It is a bigger financial investment, though, because you're funding a full expedition crew, a week of park fees, and the vital safety systems that extreme altitude demands.
Let's turn to the subjective experience itself, the atmosphere of the journey. The Inca Trail immerses you in culture at every single turn. You're walking an ancient road towards a sacred city surrounded by ruins and profound history. The trade-off for this shared heritage is exactly that. You share it. The trail is busier, and the world-famous finish line at Machu Picchu will be populated by crowds. It's simply part of the deal. Kilimanjaro, on the other hand, offers a starkly different environment. It provides absolute wilderness and transformation. You traverse 5 distinct climate zones, spend nights above the clouds, and undertake a summit push in the darkness that asks you a question no ruin ever will. On the quieter routes of the mountain, you will find real, uninterrupted solitude. Preparation for both rewards regular hill walking. If you can comfortably walk 4 to 5 hours uphill, Peru is within reach. Kilimanjaro demands that exact same ability, plus the endurance to repeat it day after day for a week. This brings us to the profound emotional distinction between the two journeys. People come home from Peru moved by what humans built. People come home from Kilimanjaro moved by what they did. The architecture of the Andes speaks to the majesty of human history, while the sheer scale of the African mountains speaks directly to your inner fortitude.
The ultimate choice, then, rests entirely upon what stirs you. If your primary motivation is history, culture, and the desire to stand somewhere legendary, you should walk the Inca Trail, and you should ensure you do it properly. It's a magnificent endeavor. But if the burning question in your mind is simply, what am I actually capable of, then the mountain is waiting.
Kilimanjaro answers that specific question of personal capability quite unlike anything else on Earth.
If you remain torn between these two exceptional paths, let your appetite for altitude make the final decision. The Inca Trail visits altitude. Kilimanjaro lives there. For many adventurers, the Inca Trail serves as the trek that first ignites the fire of high-altitude exploration, giving a magnificent first taste of thin air. Kilimanjaro becomes the grand stage where that fire goes next, raising the bar significantly. First-timers successfully summit Kilimanjaro every day, provided they commit to honest training and a sensible route. On both journeys, success requires an absolute respect for the environment, guided by the universal instruction of moving slowly, whether you call it pol-pol in Swahili or despacio in Spanish. The only question left is, which path will you take to find out what you're made of?
The honest comparison in full at vertical-sky.com.